just sacrificed 32 minutes to an individual that doesn't give a damn about anybody's time but hers. Okay?
Get ready for a wild ride into the political chaos of Dolton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tenure has turned into a real-life reality show filled with drama, power struggles, and scandal. Monday night's village trustee meeting became the epicenter of a full-blown political storm, with tensions running high as frustrated citizens armed with outrage showed up to voice their grievances against the embattled mayor.
We are awaiting Mayor Henyard to arrive. We will give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no explanation.
The meeting started 30 minutes late over a seemingly minor issue, but that delay quickly ignited simmering resentment into open hostility. One resident took the microphone, sharply declaring, "We just sacrificed 32 minutes to someone who doesn't care about anyone's time but her own." The remark hit hard, even for the composed Mayor Tiffany Henyard. From that point, the floodgates opened. One by one, residents approached the microphone, their voices shaking with anger and resolve. It wasn't just dissatisfaction they expressed, but a collective ultimatum, rallying behind Clean House 2025. Each speaker echoed the same message. Henyard's time in office was running out. The most powerful moments came from those demanding accountability and urging action, calling on their neighbors to vote Henyard out. "We must go to those polls and vote right, because we cannot let her continue as mayor," one impassioned speaker declared. The room was charged with intensity, a mix of frustration and fury that marked a community on the edge. This was no longer just a meeting. It was a bold declaration that the status quo could no longer stand.
Let her get back into being a mayor, and we already know she's not going to win that supervisor seat.
Tiffany Henyard, never one to back down from conflict, wasn't about to let the residents have the last word. Faced with harsh accusations and ultimatums, she responded with her signature defiance and unapologetic confidence. "The disrespect you just showed at that microphone is unbelievable," she snapped, her voice slicing through the tension. Her tone, full of disdain, made it clear she wouldn't cater to her critics. Doubling down, Henyard declared, "I have the seat now. Whether you like it or not, I am your mayor." It wasn't just a reaffirmation, it was a challenge, showcasing her refusal to yield to public outrage. Henyard's defiance didn't stop there. She boldly compared herself to former President Donald Trump, drawing parallels between their leadership styles and the controversies that followed them both. Framing herself as a misunderstood leader, she stood firm against what she called unjust criticism, even hinting at her own version of a landslide victory. She positioned herself as a polarizing figure, asserting that history would vindicate her, portraying her actions as those of a leader fighting against overwhelming odds. Her remarks seemed designed to provoke her critics and energize her supporters. Yet, for many in the room, it only deepened the sense of her disconnection from the community she was supposed to serve. While some saw her defiance as strength, others saw it as an unwillingness to accept responsibility, choosing to double down on controversy and further alienate those she was meant to lead.
82%. Know this, I am going to come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious.
"We are not your subjects. We are your bosses. We are the citizens of Dolton, and you will not continue to treat us this way. You are leaving." With this resolute declaration, a resident boldly confronted Mayor Tiffany Henyard, voicing the collective frustration of a community intent on holding its leader accountable. Undeterred by Henyard's defiant responses, the residents stood firm, refusing to be silenced. This wasn't just a simple disagreement. It was an explosive clash, revealing the underlying tensions and political divisions tearing through Dolton. As Henyard's provocative remarks echoed, the confrontation highlighted the escalating struggles within the village. Unmoved, an audience member shot back with a bold challenge that resonated throughout the room, capturing the growing dissatisfaction with the mayor many felt was indifferent to her constituents. It was a direct assault on Henyard's authority, symbolizing the town's refusal to accept what they saw as arrogance and overreach. The crowd, charged with energy, responded with cheers and applause, signaling their impatience had reached its limit. This clash between Henyard and the residents became a powerful symbol of the escalating fight for political control in Dolton, characterized by defiant speeches, unwavering resolve, and a strong demand for change. Unmoved, an audience member shot back with a bold challenge that resonated throughout the room, capturing the growing dissatisfaction with the mayor many felt was indifferent to her constituents. It was a direct assault on Henyard's authority, symbolizing the town's refusal to accept what they saw as arrogance and overreach. The crowd, charged with energy, responded with cheers and applause, signaling their impatience had reached its limit. This clash between Henyard and the residents became a powerful symbol of the escalating fight for political control in Dolton, characterized by defiant speeches, unwavering resolve, and a strong demand for change. Determination and a fierce call for accountability electrified the atmosphere, creating a sense of urgency that was impossible to ignore. This was no longer just a political dispute, it was the people of Dolton asserting their power as citizens against leadership they had lost trust in. The raw emotion of the confrontation showcased democracy in its most unvarnished form, proving that even in small towns, voices carry weight and have the ability to challenge even the most formidable of leaders. The FBI's investigation into the village cast a shadow over Mayor Henyard, and the controversy surrounding her leadership extended well beyond a single meeting. Public dissatisfaction grew as scrutiny mounted over the village's finances. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot also initiated an inquiry into Henyard's financial practices, revealing a troubled deficit in the village's general fund. By May 2024, the fund's balance had dropped from a surplus of $5.61 million in 2022 to a deficit of $3.65 million. Lightfoot's investigation further highlighted concerns about Henyard's use of the village credit card, with several purchases lacking proper receipts. A shocking discovery revealed that on January 5, 2023, $43,000 worth of purchases were made on Amazon under questionable circumstances. Combined with the village's mounting financial troubles, this only fueled the homeowners' calls for Henyard's removal. The controversy intensified when Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle, two trustees from the township where Henyard had previously served, skipped a crucial board meeting. Their absence stemmed from concerns over an unreviewed agenda and a lack of transparency about the township's finances. This disruption halted a vote to select a new trustee, further escalating the power struggle between Henyard and the trustees, pushing tensions to a breaking point. When Henyard attempted to appoint Ronald Barrar as the new police chief without board approval, a village spokesperson declared the move illegal, adding more turmoil to an already volatile situation. Gonzalez expressed concern, questioning the rush to convene a meeting, while both he and Carlisle were wary of granting Henyard unchecked authority, especially over financial decisions, fearing a return to the questionable spending practices of the past. The situation grew even more complicated when it was revealed that Lacey, the previous interim chief, was facing legal trouble for bankruptcy fraud at the time of the appointment. To make matters worse, the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board intervened, stating that Barrar was not legally qualified for the position due to missing paperwork and failure to requalify, further intensifying the controversy. Henyard's tenure was also marred by lawsuits alleging political and employment retaliation. In response, the board advised her to remove Barrar from public service until the required documentation was provided and his eligibility verified. A judge initially allowed Bird Sard to serve as interim chief for 30 days, but ultimately overturned several of Henyard's decisions. As the legal battles raged on, additional issues arose, including staffing disputes. Landlord Janetta Hull disclosed that Henyard and Woods had failed to pay rent since August, resulting in substantial late fees and back rent. Despite Henyard's lawyer refuting the claims, Hull accused the pair of changing the garage door code and locks to block her access to the property, further complicating the ongoing eviction case. The ongoing turmoil highlighted the instability surrounding Henyard, with even her public relations efforts failing to make an impact. Her annual turkey giveaway, intended as a goodwill gesture, was criticized by some as a tactic to deflect attention from the growing scandals. Critics, including Gonzalez, questioned the timing, viewing it as a desperate attempt to secure public support while ignoring pressing township issues. Some residents compared the event's posters to the propaganda of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, reflecting the perception of Henyard's overwhelming control over the village's public image. Although the giveaway was appreciated by some, it ultimately emphasized the deepening divisions within the community. Henyard's political maneuvering and public relations stunts failed to win over the public. The situation escalated when her self-promotion hit new levels, with giant billboards showcasing her image and slogans like "Keeping my promises," "Fighting for my residents." Reports emerged of Henyard's using police officers as personal protection. Allegations of her spending taxpayer funds on extravagant parties and luxury travel only fueled the growing perception of her as an autocratic leader, more focused on her image and comfort than on serving the people of Dolton. The billboards, meant to boost Henyard's public image, instead symbolized her growing disconnect from the concerns of her constituents. "We weren't against her having a security detail, But using public funds for personal gain and employing harsh tactics to silence dissent sparked calls for accountability and change. The public's mistrust deepened, fueled by allegations of extravagant spending and the misuse of taxpayer resources, leaving many residents feeling outraged and unfairly treated. Tensions escalated when Henyard called the police on workers removing banners, displaying her image and the title Super Mayor, further intensifying the community's frustration.
Lead without bias. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The story of Tiffany Henyard is far from finished, as her re-election bid unfolds amidst political turmoil, scandal, and growing controversy, adding yet another chapter to her already complicated narrative. Once hailed as Dolton's first female mayor and a beacon of change, Henyard now faces intense scrutiny, dividing the community she promised to lead. Her decision to seek another term is no surprise to those familiar with her defiant leadership style, but it has sparked heated public debate. Many view her campaign as a calculated attempt to rehabilitate her legacy and regain control of the narrative, positioning herself as a resilient leader, overcoming criticism. However, for a rising faction of Dolton's residents, Henyard's re-election effort represents an ongoing fight for accountability and change. For Dolton's residents, Henyard's re-election campaign represents a pivotal moment, a chance to confront the controversies and ethical breaches that have marred her time in office, and decide whether to continue under a leader many believe has betrayed their trust. Allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and abuse of power have cast a long shadow, leaving the town at a crossroads, whether to follow Henyard's vision, tainted by suspicion, or embrace a fresh start focused on transparency and accountability. For Henyard, this campaign is more than a political race. It's a test of endurance and resolve, an opportunity to prove her critics wrong and cement her legacy. But to her detractors, it symbolizes unchecked ambition and a refusal to acknowledge the harm caused during her tenure.
Township has this turkey giveaway, so it isn't anything new. Yet some trustees say that Supervisor Henyard, she is used.
The stakes have never been higher, as the outcome of this election will determine not only Henyard's future, but also Dolton's direction. Henyard's supporters, emboldened by her defiance and refusal to back down, argue that she is a visionary leader facing political sabotage and systemic obstacles. On the other hand, her critics see her re-election bid as a last-ditch effort to hold on to power, disregarding the legitimate frustrations of a community worn out by her leadership. The political climate in Dolton is tense, with Henyard's campaign drawing statewide attention, turning this local race into a wider debate on leadership, ethics, and accountability in public office. As Election Day nears, the question remains, will Henyard overcome the storm of scandal, reclaim her narrative, and secure a second term? Or will this election signal the end of her divisive reign? The referendum on Henyard's leadership marks a pivotal moment that could end her controversial reign. The stakes go beyond simple campaign promises, reflecting broader challenges of leadership, unchecked ambition, and a community demanding justice. Whatever the outcome, this election will undoubtedly be a defining chapter in Dolton's history, with the potential to shape the town's political and social future. Tiffany Henyard's story is far from finished. Her recent re-election bid, emerging amid political turmoil, scandal, and intensifying controversy, only adds to her already complicated narrative. Once hailed as Dolton's first female mayor and a symbol of change, Henyard now finds herself in the eye of a storm, facing deepening scrutiny that has divided the very community she vowed to serve. Henyard's decision to run for another term is no surprise to those who know her defiant leadership style, but it has ignited a fierce public debate. Many view her re-election bid as a calculated attempt to salvage her legacy and regain control of the narrative, portraying herself as a resilient leader standing firm against her critics. However, for a growing number of Dolton's residents, her campaign marks a critical juncture, a chance to confront the controversies and ethical lapses that have tainted her time in office and decide whether to continue under a leader many feel has betrayed their trust. Allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and abuse of power have loomed large, leaving Dolton at a crossroads. Should the town persist with Henyard's vision, tainted by suspicion, or embrace a new beginning built on transparency and accountability? Henyard's re-election campaign is more than just a political battle. It's a test of endurance and determination, a chance for her to prove her critics wrong and secure her place in Dolton's history. However, To her detractors, it represents unchecked ambition and a refusal to confront the weight of her own controversies. The stakes have never been higher, as the outcome will shape not only Henyard's future, but also the direction of Dolton. Her supporters, motivated by her boldness and unwavering resolve, see her as a visionary leader standing against political sabotage and systemic barriers. On the other hand, her critics view her re-election bid as a desperate move to cling to power, ignoring the real concerns of a community weary of her leadership. The political climate in Dolton is captured statewide attention, and the drama surrounding Henyard's campaign has captured statewide attention. As the election approaches, it has ignited a wider debate on leadership, ethics, and the accountability of public officials. With the days ticking down to the crucial vote, one question looms. Will Henyard navigate the storm of scandal, reclaim her narrative, and secure a second term? Or will this election become a referendum on her leadership, bringing a definitive end to her controversial reign? The stakes go beyond campaign promises and slogans, reflecting the deeper challenges of leadership, navigating adversity, unchecked ambition, and a community demanding justice. Regardless of the outcome, this election stands to be a defining moment in Dolton's history, potentially shaping the town's political and social landscape for years to come.